Hey all, JTC here, and welcome back to another user-submitted gameplay review. Today's gameplay is submitted by Aether Blackbolt, so thank you to Aether for submitting your gameplay for review, but let's go ahead and jump straight into it by looking at the build that he provided for us to look at. Now, first off, I'm not going to really comment much on exactly what he's running. This all looks pretty good up here. The only thing I wanted to comment on is the use of 60% block cost reduction. Now, normally I would say 60% block cost reduction is meta because, let's be real, it is meta. 60% block cost reduction is absolutely huge. However, it's not really necessary when you're running a shield. 30%, yeah, 30% block cost reduction is nice, but 60% is really, really overkill with a shield weapon, and really gimps your damage quite a lot, because shield weapons already have inherent block cost reduction built into it, so you can absolutely get away with running no block cost reduction at all. I would personally suggest no block cost reduction at all, and putting on, other breakpoints to kind of help with some damage. Now, you could get away with 30% block cost reduction and still do just fine, but in my opinion, I would not run 60%. I would say run 0% block cost reduction with a shield specifically, or if you wanted to be a little more on the safe side, 30%. But 60%, a little overkill. Now, with the talents, not really too much to say here. Enhanced Power, Taste of Victory, pretty normal to see on Huntsman. Especially with a shield. Concealed Strikes is pretty much a requirement. Keep 'em Coming is pretty good. I actually would recommend Keep 'em Coming with Repeater Handgun because it allows you to, like, keep that, keep those shots going and actually turn it more into like a machine gun, making it look easy. These three don't really matter too much, especially when you're running a weapon like a repeater handgun that doesn't rely on headshots as much as his other weapons. But Thick Hide is really the only one I wanted to comment on. Just like how I think block cost reduction is a little overkill with a shield weapon, I would also think that Thick Hide is a little overkill with a shield weapon because you're already pretty tanky with a shield weapon. So personally, I would recommend Shot Crafter instead. I would personally recommend Shot Crafter instead to help you use your ranged weapon a lot more, because just in your gameplay review that I saw, you did use your ranged weapon a decent amount, but I think you could have used it more, and having Shot Crafter would have allowed you to do that a lot more than Thick Hide, because you had zero trouble staying alive at all in your gameplay review. So I think Thick Hide was a little redundant, and I think Shot Crafter would have served you better, and I just think in general with a shield, Shot Crafter would serve you better a lot more in general. So this is actually something that you do that I really like and wanted to point out. So in this situation, the engineer is currently raining Hellfire and Brimstone down upon the Horde, and instead of just like leaving and doing your own thing, you actually stay up here for a little bit and you support him by killing the specials and just generally watching his back. And that's really, really commendable, and that's something that's not a lot of people do very often, and I definitely want to say good job on that, because realistically, looking at this entire, what's the word I'm looking for? Team comp that we have a Pyromancer, we have a Sister, we have an Engie, and then we have a Huntsman. So we have what's basically 3 ranged characters and a kind of like half-ranged, half-frontliner character. So this is not a very tanky team. So you ranged people really, really need to stick together as much as possible, and this is how you do it right here. Now, realistically, watching his back like this wouldn't have really saved him from any kind of backstabbing, because back here, they can't, Skaven or nothing, no one can really climb up from the back here. They can really only climb up right here, and they can only really climb up right here. And because there's a storm right here, they're not going to be climbing up right here, and there's nothing right here, so nothing's going to be climbing up right here. So realistically, you're not watching his flank, but you are still exhibiting a team-oriented attitude, which is super commendable. So this is also another thing that you do that I really, really like that a lot of people just don't do for some reason that I also wanted to cover. Now, you have an entire horde in front of you, and you also have a shield, so realistically, this horde that was in front of you a couple of seconds ago, these guys are all in front of you attacking you, and you have a shield, so realistically they're not going to be a problem, but yet you decide to pull out your ranged weapon and shoot them. And I actually really like that. Why? A, because you're huntsman, so you have plenty of ammo, and B, it's perfectly acceptable to shoot a horde. I feel like people get too concerned with ammo conservation in this game and think, oh, I can only shoot two, maybe three things with my ranged weapon. Bosses, specials, and armored units. If it's not one of these three, then I can't use my ranged weapon at all. But that's just not true. If anything bad is happening, or if you're unsure of a situation, or you don't like whatever is going on, or in this case, you know, a teammate goes down and you have to kill these guys as fast as possible, just fucking take out your ranged weapon and blast him. Because he takes out his ranged weapon, he's able to kill these guys a lot quicker than he ever would have been able to with his sword or with his shield, which makes him be able to take out these enemies a lot faster and go help his team a lot sooner.
Piss on that rattling anyway! Just look what that packed scum have done. Tarts.
So, right here, you are being very self-aware of what's happening, which I also commend you for. You hear a rattling gunner, you turn around, you are like, okay, there's a rattling gunner behind us that's gonna catch up with us at some point, so I should probably take care of him. And you start moving, but then decide to break off from your team and go kill the rattling gunner. And you kill him, but as you can see right here, 1, 2, 3, you are very, very separated from your team right now, and you're risking your life, because if anything happens right here, anything at all, a special knocks you off, you get disabled, you end up eating an overhead and you die, nobody can save you. Or, correction, someone can save you if they jump over this bridge over here, if they jump back and walk over, but the problem is it's probably going to take too long and you're going to die. So, realistically, that rattling gunner that you broke off from the group and killed wasn't that much of a threat. So I guess the biggest tip I would give here is to kind of do assessments of the specials that you're wanting to kill, and kind of do a risk assessment of the risk of separating yourself from your team versus the actual risk of killing that special, or the risk that that special is going to pose if left unchecked. Because realistically, if you had not touched that rattling gunner would right now be firing at your allies from across the bridge. But because he's across the bridge, he's going to do nothing but chip damage to your team. And because you have 3 really good ranged careers, they would have just deleted this rattling gunner with no problem and no sweat off their back. So realistically, what you did was you risked your life for kind of not that great of a payoff. So kind of be mindful of that and kind of do risk assessments to make sure that you are not risking more than the reward. This is something right here that is so simple, yet so many people forget that they can do. Guys, you can block attacks. This is actually really beautiful what you do right here. You identify that this mauler is coming at you with a running attack, and what do? You just block it. All you do is you just simply raise your shield and you block it, and then after he gets staggered, you go in for the counterattack. A lot of people assume that they have to be attacking 24/7, and that they have to, be dodging constantly and trying to knock people out of their attacks. It is completely acceptable if you see any kind of attack coming to just sit there and hold block and let it hit you and then counterattack afterwards. Because even if you don't parry the attack with the parry trait, or whatever it is, even if you don't parry an attack, 95% of enemies who hit you with an attack will be staggered. And we'll go into some kind of like off balance / stagger animation, which is perfect for a counterattack. So yeah, don't forget that just holding block and eating an attack with block is an option. This is just a little quick tip that not a lot of people know about that I wanted to share. Right here, if you're a ranged character, this is something that you can do to kind of help you with the beginning of this fight. Right here, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a pole right here, a half pole that only goes up to about here, and then right here there is a bed. What you can do is you can jump onto this bed and then jump onto this pole, and when Burble Spew comes down to the center and does his rapid AoE blob attack, it's impossible for you to get hit while you are up here. You are guaranteed to not get hit while up there, so you don't have to focus on dodging, and you can do nothing but just focus on attacking him. So yeah, this is just kind of a dumb mistake that you made. I'm not really too worried about it. I'm pretty sure you know exactly what happened here. You hear Burble Spew say "armored flies," which signify that he is, of course, sending the flies after you. So you should have realistically turned around and took care of them, but you didn't, and you got smacked down. Now, the main point that I wanted to solidify here was that if you're ever disabled like this. And honestly, like, it has to do with just anything disabled, you know, in general. If you're ever disabled like this, either from flies or from a Packmaster or from a hook rat, don't be afraid to start spamming help. You do it once, and that's fine and all, but don't be afraid to sit there and spam it rapidly, because yeah, sometimes it can be seen as kind of rude, but also a lot of times people don't actually realize what's going on in front of them. And some people, myself included, will tunnel vision and not realize that someone is down. Because remember, there is a lot going on in the screen at once. This game is very, very frantic. It looks like this a lot of the times. It's very frantic. Someone's over here, they're fighting over here, oh my god, there's a special here, and it's just hell. So sometimes people genuinely don't realize that you're in trouble, and sometimes just spamming one help doesn't really convey the situation. And also, since they don't get a sound notification when you spam help, so if you spam help multiple times, they have a much higher chance of actually seeing it, seeing who's spamming help, and actually looking for you and offering you some help. And this last tip, I didn't want to spend too much time on it because I already made a video on it. I'll link it down in the description if you want to watch it. But you offered the Sienna some unsolicited advice in the endgame chat, and my entire suggestion around that is just don't. Especially randoms, because you don't know how they're going to react. You might, you know, be saying it in a way that you think is respectful and kind, but they might interpret it in an incredibly hostile and aggressive way. And because of that, it's just usually not worth the headache. There is a way that you can actually do it respectfully and to kind of avoid this, which is by taking the blame off of the person you're giving advice to and putting it onto yourself in some capacity. It's not going to solve the hostility issue, but for the most part, it will make people a lot more receptive to you. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe for more Vermintide content in the future. And if you are interested in submitting your own gameplay for review, make sure to join the Discord using the link down in the description below and check out the relevant channel. See y'all next time.